Welcome, Shadow Seekers, to American Shadows, Crimes and Chronicles. Today, we're unearthing a tale that'll haunt your thoughts long after it ends. Whether you're glued to the screen or just listening in, you're in for a wild ride through history's darkest corners. If you're new, hit subscribe to join our mission of exposing America's hidden truths. Regulars, your likes fuel our journey into the unknown. Now, let's peel back the layers of time and reveal the secrets beneath. Ready? Let's begin. The Missingest Man in America, Judge Crater's Disappearance. Hello friends, you're watching American Shadows, and today we're stepping back in time to August 6th, 1930. The setting? The bustling streets of New York City, where one of America's most baffling mysteries is about to unfold. Picture a warm summer evening in the Big Apple. The country is in the grip of the Great Depression, but in the heart of Manhattan, the lights still shine bright. Among the glittering marquees and crowded sidewalks, a man hails a taxi. He's well-dressed, distinguished-looking. To passers-by, he might seem like any other wealthy New Yorker heading out for a night on the town. But this is no ordinary man, and this will be no ordinary night. The man is Judge Joseph Force Crater, and he is about to become the most famous missing person in New York history. Before we dive into this tale of corruption, conspiracy, and an enduring mystery, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you who support our work. Your likes, comments, and shares fuel our passion for uncovering the shadowy corners of history. Now, let's unravel the enigma of the man who would become known as the Missingest Man in New York. Joseph Force Crater was born on January 5, 1889, in Easton, Pennsylvania. A bright mind from the start, he graduated from Columbia Law School in 1916 and quickly climbed the legal ladder. At just 41 years old, he had recently been appointed to the New York Supreme Court by Governor Franklin D. Roosevelt in April 1930. But beneath the surface of his successful career, rumors swirled. Whispers of corruption, of connections to Tammany Hall, the powerful and notoriously crooked political machine that controlled New York City. The events leading to Crater's disappearance began on August 3, 1930. He had just returned to New York City from a vacation in Maine with his wife, Stella. He told her he needed to straighten out a few matters in the city before joining her back at their summer home. Little did Stella know, these would be the last words she'd ever hear from her husband. On August 6th, Crater spent the day in his chambers, reportedly destroying several documents. Then, in a move that would later raise eyebrows, he withdrew $5,150 from his bank accounts, equivalent to about $80,000 today. Was this preparation for a planned disappearance, or something more sinister? That fateful evening, Judge Crater had dinner with a friend, William Klein, and a showgirl named Sally Lou Ritz at Billy Haas's Chop House on West 45th Street. After the meal, around 9:15 p.m., he excused himself, saying he was going to catch a show. He stepped into a taxi and vanished into the New York night. It would be the last confirmed sighting of Joseph Force Crater. The judge's disappearance wasn't immediately noticed. It was the height of summer, and Crater had told his wife he would be working late in the city before joining her in Maine. But as days turned to weeks with no word from the judge, alarm bells began to ring. Strangely, Stella initially didn't report him missing, believing he was simply caught up in work. It was only after weeks of silence that she contacted the authorities. When the investigation finally began, it uncovered more questions than answers. The police combed through Crater's phone records and bank accounts, but found no clues. The taxi driver who picked him up that night was never identified. It was as if Judge Crater had simply evaporated into the warm summer air. As the police dug deeper, they discovered that Crater had destroyed numerous documents before he vanished. What secrets were in those papers? What was the judge trying to hide? The investigation took a sinister turn when it was revealed that Crater had connections to the underworld. He was known to frequent speakeasies and had associations with gangsters and corrupt politicians. Was the judge silenced because he knew too much? Theories about Crater's fate ran wild. Some believed he had been murdered by the mob. Others thought he had run off with a mistress or fled to avoid exposure of his corrupt dealings. There were even those who speculated that he had been abducted by aliens. The case captivated the public imagination. Pulling a Crater became slang for vanishing without a trace. But despite the intense interest and extensive investigations, no trace of Judge Crater was ever found. The disappearance exposed the deep-rooted corruption in New York City's political and judicial systems. It highlighted the power of organized crime in the era of prohibition and raised troubling questions about who could be trusted in positions of authority. Over the years, tantalizing clues have emerged. In 2005, the widow of an NYPD officer came forward with a letter her husband had written on his deathbed. The letter claimed that Crater had been murdered by corrupt cops and buried under the Coney Island boardwalk. However, an excavation of the site yielded no evidence. In 2012, a woman named Stella Ferrucci Good passed away, leaving behind a letter to be opened after her death. In it, she claimed that her husband, a policeman, had confessed to her that he and several other men, including her father, had killed Crater and buried him beneath a section of the Coney Island boardwalk that had subsequently been destroyed by fire. Once again, the claim could not be substantiated. As time passed, hope of finding Crater alive dwindled. In 1939, 9 years after his disappearance, Judge Crater was declared legally dead. But the mystery didn't end there. His wife, Stella, continued to seek answers until her death in 1969, never giving up hope that the truth would one day come to light. As we reflect on the disappearance of Judge Crater, we're left with more questions than answers. Was he a corrupt judge who fled to escape justice? A victim of organized crime? Or perhaps a man who simply wanted to leave his old life behind? The case of the missing judge serves as a stark reminder of the corruption that once ran rampant in American cities. It highlights the limitations of early 20th century investigative techniques and the power of political machines like Tammany Hall. But perhaps most importantly, it shows us how a single unexplained event can capture the public imagination for generations. This is American Shadows, where we peer into the darker corners of our nation's past. Until next time, remember that sometimes the most enduring mysteries are those that force us to confront the flaws in our systems of power and justice. And the next time you're in New York City, take a moment to look around. In the shadows of those towering skyscrapers, who knows what secrets still lie hidden?